What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And today I'm going to talk about the Knicks because the Knicks are getting the chemistry down. The defense is better. They have scored 130 plus points in their last two games. They had a 37 assist the other night against Washington. The Knicks are back, and I'll get into a couple voicemails at the end of the episode. I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Got the wall. He jumps. It's gone. He did it. He did it. Pete Alonso with the most memorable home run of his career.
All right, getting into the episode. And the thing I want to start with is the Knicks defense, and more specifically, their defense against the Suns just last night. Because what I noticed most on the defensive side of the ball, the rotations were absolutely crispy. They were just clean. They were tight. Everybody was locked in. Everybody was on the same wavelength. The Knicks looked like a team ready to contend for a championship, and that's something that they hadn't looked like previously in the season. Over their first 14 games, they looked a little rusty. They looked a little rough around the edges. But last night against the Suns, it was awesome. There was that one play, I'll pop it up on the screen right now, where the Suns were coming down. It was a fast break. Jericho Sims and Josh Hart held down the paint. Cam Payne charged out of the corner, defending the three ball, and then the Knicks got into a defensive set and forced Devin Booker into a contested three. Those are the things you want to see. Those are the signs that this team's improving chemistry-wise, and they know where each other is going to be at, and they know where and how they're going to win basketball games. Because the Knicks overall, they're a very defensive sound team, and they're built on their defense. Three of the guys in the starting lineup are defensive specialists, I would say. Definitely OG, definitely McHale. And Josh Hart kind of depends on the night, but I would consider him more of a defensive player than an offensive player, even though he does bring 10 points and 10 assists to the table almost every night. That's not an actual stat, just saying. That's about my estimate. But last night and against the Wizards, and then really against the Wizards, their defense did look good as well. But especially last night, I mean, the defense was just on point. And it was from the first quarter. It wasn't going down early and then having to fight their way back all game, which is something they did way too much last year. It was always them going down in the first quarter, getting into these massive holes, and then pulling off these miracle comebacks that nobody sees coming. That is not going to be the Knicks of 2024. The Knicks of 2024 are going to control games from the tip. They're going to have wire-to-wire victories, and they're going to win a lot of basketball games. I mean, 9-6, 3 games over 500 now after this recent 4-game winning streak. And I could see this winning streak continuing for quite a while. I mean, the next games you play is Utah, and then you go to Denver. Denver's the biggest challenge. They're 8-5. They haven't really figured it out yet. And recently, the Knicks have fared pretty well against the Nuggets. I mean, they won a game by 38 last year. That was the January Knicks, though. The January Knicks. But after that, you play Dallas. And Dallas will be without Luka Doncic for that game. Luka is going to be out for 2 weeks with an injury. But then you play a really easy stretch after that. You play Charlotte, New Orleans, Orlando without Paolo, Charlotte again, Detroit, Toronto. And then you play Minnesota on the road. That's going to be their next toughest matchup, I would say. And that's all the way on December 19th. After that, you play New Orleans again, Toronto again, San Antonio on Christmas Day. And I don't know what San Antonio is going to be at that point. Is Wemby going to be back? Is Chris Paul still going to be playing at the level he is right now? Because he's drinking from the fountain of youth. He's played really well, brought back some old times. Then you play Orlando again, Washington, Utah, and then you play OKC on January 3rd. And that's where I could see realistically this winning streak is going to end sooner. But if you're going based on like chalk and who you think is flat out better, the Knicks should be winning all the way until January. They shouldn't lose a game in December. And that's going to help them because they got off to this little rough start. They're only 9-6. They're second in their division. I think fourth in the conference. Still way too early for that stuff. Cavs got off to a ridiculous spot. Yeah, Knicks are third in the conference, half a game up on the Magic, one ahead in the loss column. But Cavs are 16-1. That's not going to stand. The Celtics are 12-3. They'll be really good. They're not going anywhere. They'll probably be at the top. They'll probably be the top seed all year. Then the Knicks at 9-6. I could see the Knicks jumping into second place and the Cavs falling to third, potentially fourth. Probably to stay at the third spot though. And this is all but before the new year, just because of how easy the Knicks schedule is and what the Knicks have been able to do over the last couple of weeks, or the last couple of games, rather, the last week or so, 4 games. And let me just say this about Cat. Cat seems like he loves being in New York. Karl Anthony Towns grew up probably about 45 minutes to an hour away from the Garden. Karl Anthony Towns grew up a Knicks fan. He wants to be in New York. He wants to play for the Knicks. He wants to bring a championship back to the Garden, back to the Mecca. They call it the Mecca for a reason. Karl Anthony Towns has played harder than he ever has in Minnesota. That's what I've seen out of him. His defense is definitely taking a step. I was a little bit skeptical about that going into the year. But right now, I love what I'm seeing from Karl Anthony Towns. He has really impressed me. His scoring is better than I thought it was going to be. And it's such a breath of fresh air seeing and having a center that can score the basketball. A true center. I mean, Julius Randle would play small ball 5 at times, but he's not a center. He's a power forward or a small forward. Depends on the day. But Karl Anthony Towns, on the other hand, he's a true blue center. He might get pushed to the 4 a little bit, but that's if the Knicks want to throw out a huge lineup out there. If the Knicks did that, let me just say on this for a second. At the 5, you have Mitch, about 7 feet. Cat, around 6'10" to 7 foot as well at the 4. Then at the 3, we would have OG. And OG is right. He's listed at 6'7", so he's probably like 6'5". Mikhail is 6'6". And then I would say probably Josh, just because you need some guard play. But if you want to go true, huge lineup, and you risk it and just go all in for the height, you could potentially have Mikhail play the 1, bring up the ball. The problem with this lineup, well, Precious would be at the 3. There wouldn't be enough scoring. Mikhail would have to create too much for himself. It would be insane though if against like the Thunder, who have like a ridiculously short lineup. I think SGA was their tallest starter the other day. I get they're getting iHeart and Chet back eventually, but SGA was their starting center about a week and a half ago. So that's a reality. And the Knicks could have a lineup with 3 guys that are over 6'8", 4 guys that are over 6'7" or above. That'd be ridiculous. I don't know why I'm spending so much time on this because it's not realistic, but it is what it is. I mean, let me get to the offense. Let me get to Jalen Brunson next. Jalen Brunson this year is not averaging the most points. He's not averaging as many points as last year. In fact, he doesn't even lead the team in points per game. That would be Karl Anthony Towns at 26.8. Jalen Brunson is not far behind at 25.2. But the thing with Brunson, him not scoring as much is actually helping the Knicks a lot. He's looking to get other guys going. He's looking to get Cat going, to get Josh going, to get Mikhail going, who has started the season off a little bit slow. He's firing on all cylinders now. His mid-range game started off hot. It's still hot. And the 3 ball is really coming around. And to get Josh going. And in doing that, he knocked himself out of rhythm. He started the season shooting well. He dipped around game 4 or 5, and then he's gotten it going the last 2-3 games. Scored 30+ points last night. But Jalen Brunson getting out of rhythm is going to help the Knicks in the long run so much. Jalen understands that the Knicks don't need to be winning every game in November and October. He needs the Knicks to be ready to go in the playoffs. That's his job as captain. His job as captain of the New York Knicks is to make sure the team is ready and not just himself. The Knicks are more than just Jalen Brunson. And he's figuring that out. He's averaging about 10 assists a game right now. He's averaging 7.3. But over the last 4 or 5, he's averaging over 10. Jalen Brunson has done a huge favor to the Knicks and to Tibbs, and this is why the Knicks paid him so much and took a chance on him, because they saw what kind of leader he is on and off the court. Jalen Brunson has done so much for the Knicks this year, and now he's getting the offense going, and that's just going to add another element of offense. This is the most skilled team that I've ever seen for the Knicks. I mean, you could go back to some of those 90s teams with Starks and Ewing and Mace and Oakley. I don't know, maybe the Allen Houston, Larry Johnson Knicks, Latrell Sprewell, maybe Melo Stoudemire and those boys. But I think the Knicks are more talented. This current rendition, that is, with Karl Anthony Towns, probably the most skilled big man on the offensive side of the ball that the NBA has ever seen. Jalen Brunson, whose scoring ability, whose facilitating ability. He's a maestro with the ball. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges might be one of the most talented defensive wings combination that you've ever seen. And Josh Hart, he's a little rough around the edges, and he's not the most skilled guy, but he will beat his team with his heart and with his hustle and with his back-breaking rebounds that he always gets in the biggest moments. Every time you need Josh Hart to get a rebound, he is there, and he will make that play, get the Knicks out in transition, and set up the offense. And this is something else I want to talk about. Mike Breen was talking about how the Knicks rank pretty low in pace across the entire NBA. Yeah, yes, they do. But the thing with the Knicks is they have a weird kind of pace. They don't, if Jalen gets a rebound or Cat gets a rebound, they're not looking to push. They're going to set the offense up because they're both half-court players. But if Josh gets a rebound or OG gets a rebound or Mikal gets a rebound, and especially Cam Payne and Josh are the two big guys, they're looking to push. They're high-energy guys. They play with pace. They like to get down the court. They like getting buckets in transition. I mean, you saw last night, back-to-back plays, OG Anunoby had alley-oop dunks in transition because Mikal got a rebound and he got out, and Josh got a rebound and he got out. And the thing with OG is he has to learn how to land if he wants to dunk, man. Every time he goes up to slam a ball, he falls down. I swear, it is the scariest thing that OG Anunoby can possibly do. It scares me to death every time he falls, just because I know how fragile he is, and the Knicks can ill afford to lose him. But getting back to the pace conversation, the Knicks bench brings a lot more pace than the starting unit with Cam Payne and Deuce, and Pat Ohm likes to get out in transition, and especially Jericho Sims, who likes to get out and dunk the ball. He loves those alley-oop dunks. He's a high flyer, and he shows it almost every time he gets in transition. And Jericho Sims honestly hasn't played terrible over the last 3 or 4 games. This little stretch where the Knicks have been better. Jericho Sims hasn't been terrible. And that's why they're winning, because the Knicks aren't playing 5-on-4 when Jericho Sims is on the court. It's a great thing. Jericho Sims has actually proven to me that he might be able to be not a good backup center, but someone the Knicks can get by with if Precious goes down again. And they need another big man off the bench. And I still don't like the minutes that these guys are playing. Everybody 34 minutes or higher. Cat bringing up the tail end with 34 minutes last night. OG at 35. He did have 3 fouls in the first half. He finished with 3, so he didn't foul at all in the second half. Mikal played 40, Jalen 37, Josh 39, and Cam Payne 26 off the bench. Cam Payne is really getting into a rhythm with this 3-ball. And if Cam Payne can get into a rhythm with a 3-ball, that is going to be absolutely massive for the Knicks. Because if Cam Payne can start knocking down shots and come off the bench and bring the energy and start dancing around and making teams mad, he was always a pain in the butt when the Knicks had to play him, whether it was with the Sixers or the Suns. If he could do that for the Knicks, that lengthens the bench. He hasn't been anything special to start the season. But if he can start to get it going, that would be absolutely massive for the Knicks. Overall, though, I think the Knicks are starting to hit their stride. They're going to go on a winning streak here. It just depends if they beat the Nuggets. That's really it. And if they lose that game, so what? It's early. It should be still in November by the time they play the Nuggets. Yeah, it'll be a November 25th game. So I'm not worried about it. If they beat them, well, it's good. If they don't, it's whatever. It's an early season game. But after that, that's when I really expect them to go on a stretch until probably around mid to late December. All right, let's get to some voicemails. I think I have one lined up for today's episode. All right, let's listen to it.
Yo, what's up? I'm Jack from New Jersey, and my take is Juan Soto should not sign with the Mets. Thank you, Ben.
See, I just think you lost your mind. How could you not want Juan Soto to sign with the Mets? Juan Soto is an absolutely generational talent. I know that word is tossed around a lot, but Juan Soto is. And the thing that's different is he's only 26. A lot of these other free agents who are considered generational talents are 29, 30, 31 years of age. Juan Soto still has the best in front of him. The Mets absolutely have to sign Juan Soto. And from what I'm reading, it seems as if Soto's going to take the top dollar. And if that's the case, the Mets absolutely have to get him. If it comes down to money and Steve Cohen gets outbid, I will be mad. But all I'm asking for is Steve Cohen to have the top bid. That's all. If he goes somewhere else, whatever. Have fun. You made extra money, or you didn't make extra money, and it was your choice. It's a business decision. That's how sports works. But I don't see how you can want Juan Soto to be anywhere but the Mets. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Balling. Make sure you check out the links in the description below. Leave a voicemail at 848-305-8073. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, or following. And make sure you keep it locked with the Sports Pod.